Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside the boys, Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. Gentlemen, what a night we got to set it up here. Of course, we start out with NXT, then to be followed by tonight's AEW Dynamite that was just held in Canada. Yeah, for the first time that I can ever remember, that AEW goes north of the border to Toronto, Ontario. And, well, we have ourselves quite a night to talk about, so we're just going to dive right on in. Of course, we start out, as always, with NXT. And tonight, NXT started out. Oh, okay. We'll start NXT tonight with, let's see, hold on. And this was actually last night's NXT. So here we go. And we started it all off with NXT champion Braun Breaker. He went up against big body Javi, Javier Barnell, non-title matchup. When it was all said and done, Braun Breaker wins the match in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, okay, this was a standard warm-up. This was really nothing amazing. It was more of a showcase to show the fans the NXT champion Braun Breaker and how good he is, and also to give him some necessary momentum as he's going into Halloween Havoc and his big title match, a triple threat against JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, and himself. That's going down, I believe, either next week or in a couple of weeks. But whatever the case may be, this is an okay opener. I wish the match could have gone a little more longer, but the thing is, in a way, you could say delicious squash. This was practically what it was. That's exactly what it needed to be. It didn't need to overstay its welcome. It did it. Fine, no problems. If you want to talk about ratings, I don't know if this is worthy of a rating because, I mean, we're talking 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Maybe you can push for maybe 1.5, but I'm being really generous with that. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
This was exactly what it needed to be. Braun Breaker dominated the match, got himself a clear win, and JD McDonough continued to get in the head of his Halloween Havoc opponents. At this point, nothing more is needed to sell the match, though McDonough and Ilya Dragunov do need to do something bigger to come off as legitimate threats to dethrone the NXT champion at Halloween Havoc. After the match, Dragunov arrived. McDonough headbutted the Czar and then sent him into Breaker. You notice that. So it's a 1.5. I agree with the ratings. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, nice showcase for Braun Breaker as he prepares for his toughest title defense yet against Dragunov and McDonough at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, I'll give it about 1.5 as well. I mean, this was basically a showcase fight for Braun Breaker. I mean, heading into his big time title defense at Halloween Havoc against JD McDonough and Ilya Dragunov. So it definitely gives him some momentum. And then you had utter chaos, obviously, at the end with Dragunov and JD McDonough. So nice little build to this title fight. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right, next up on the fight card, Nathan Frazier versus Axum. Remember, this was supposed to be a best of 3 bout, 1 up fall apiece. This third fall had even higher stakes. The winner gets to go to the ladder match for the North American Championship at Halloween Havoc. You want to talk about high stakes on the third and final fall? Nathan Frazier wins the fall, wins the series 2-1, 12 minutes and 53 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
What a match. What a match. You could easily say fight of the night. You could easily make an argument for it. While it is difficult to say which of the trio of matches was the best, Axiom and Frazier certainly never missed together. This was a wild and energetic end to one of the best things NXT has booked in months. It was all about putting over the talent of two great stars. And the brand can benefit from this kind of simple booking more. Pair up two stars for friendly competition and see how high they can fly. Nathan Frazier barely took the win but came out as a star. He has brought himself to another level, and it would not be surprising for him to capitalize on this by capturing the NXT North American Championship at Halloween Havoc. Where do I even start with this? Axiom barely made it back into the ring before sliding into a missile dropkick. Then when Nathan Frazier dived on him, he reversed into a series of submission holds. Nathan Frazier caught Axiom with a superplex, but he countered into a sleeper hold. Unbelievable match. I can easily give this 3 3/4 to 4 stars. This was absolutely fantastic. You could easily make an argument for Fight of the Night. I certainly wouldn't be mad at it if you did. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, here you go. Your brand, another diamond in the rough right here. You've got a fast rising star right here. And here's a young man who could very easily become the North American champion at Halloween Havoc. It could happen.
Yeah, I can definitely see it happening. But man, what a match this was. This was definitely probably one of the best matches of the series. I'm going to give this about 3.5 to 4. I mean, this was an incredible match. I mean, definitely a great way to close out the series, and a big win for Frazier, but it could lead even to something bigger come Halloween Havoc, because he could come out the new North American champion. Will it happen? Only time will tell. But to me, I mean, I still think the favorite out of all this is Carmelo Hayes, because you can't bet against this guy. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, excellent match. 3.5 to 4. Totally agree with everything you guys have said. Solid action, great battle, great wrestling. Look, and I gotta say this. Remember, when this series started, I cannot believe I'm gonna give this, but this was under McMagma. Remember, Triple H did not take over yet. So this 3-match series was actually under McMagma. So for once, I'm going to give credit where credit's due to Bucky Beaver Tail, Kevin Dunn, to Blubber Love, to McMagma, to the old regime, because of the fact that they were kind of the reason why this 3-fight series started. Now, I'm going to give you that the final battle was the best one, and that's absolutely credit to Triple H and the guys. But this 3-fight series and this idea, I actually think came from McMahon. So I'm going to give partial credit to McMahon because he deserves it, because this series was really well done. But the way that they transitioned it made it truly, truly, truly amazing. So I'm going to give a lot of credit there. This was a great series. I can't wait to see what Triple H and the boys are going to do. And remember, there used to be a tournament, a format like this in NXT UK. I would love to see them bring this to NXT USA and really try to emphasize that kind of wrestling, the series style wrestling, the multi-series type matches, because that's where we come. And the thing is, it would be a great playoff to the Major League Baseball playoffs that are going on right now. I think this would have been the perfect time to utilize that kind of a series. So I say do it. So I'm thoroughly impressed. All right, next up we had was Valentina Feroz. She went up against Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell wins the match in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. So, Mike Bullock, quick thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a 1-star match, so I'm not going to get further details into it, so it's yours, Fletch.
I could get, you know what? All right, no problem. I'll give it the 1 star. Based off the time that the women got, I thought they did pretty good. Not bad. I wish they got more time out of that. But for what it's worth, they did a good job. So it was an all okay match. So I'm gonna go 1.25, 1.5. I'm gonna be a little more generous than you are, Bullock. But Florio, it's yours.
1.5 for me. It was a decent sprint in which Indy Hartwell gave a lot of room for her opponent to show what she can do. While it was too short to be good, at least it looks like Feroz can compete on her own while Yulisa Leon is out injured. This match was overshadowed by the booking around it, though. Sangha was watching and was then convinced to leave by Veer Mahan before Pretty Deadly interrupted Hartwell's celebration just to talk about the next match we're going to be getting into. And that's really all there is to say on that. So 1.5. And speaking of high stakes matches, MF, up next we have another high stakes match in which the winners of this match would be in line to be the next challengers for Pretty Deadly and the NXT Tag Team Championship, most likely at Halloween Havoc, maybe.
Most likely at Halloween Havoc, it was Idris Analfi and Malik Blade versus Brooks Jansen and Josh Briggs and the Dryad, Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler. When it was all said and done, the winners of the match in 9 minutes and 10 seconds, and the new number one contenders for the NXT World Tag Team Championship was Malik Blade and Idris Analfi. They win it in 9-10. Oh my goodness. Finally, these guys get the opportunity of a lifetime. And thank you, NXT. These guys have been criminally underutilized for months. And don't get me wrong, I love Brooks Jansen and Josh Briggs. I think they were great tag team champions. But the next team in line that deserves an opportunity was Blade and Analfi, and they finally did it. They got there. They're going to fight for the titles. And for me, this was a solid 2.5 to 3. This could have gone a number of ways. Obviously, the pace was fast. It was hard hitting. It was all over the place. But for me personally, the right team won. Now, I know there's going to be some people that are going to be like, oh, it should have been Jansen and Briggs because of the rivalry that they had with Pretty Deadly. All right, I'll give you that. And I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not gonna fight you on that. That is your opinion. And quite frankly, I would not fight you with that situation because sometimes I would have also felt that way. But because of the fact that Blade and Analfi was in this match, I was pulling very hard for these guys to get the opportunity. Lo and behold, they did it. They won it. So for me, I'm over the moon with the result. Yes, this might be a homer call. 2.5 to 3. Anthony, it is yours.
A little underscored here, MF. 3 to 3.25. I could easily make an argument for 3.5, but 3 to 3.25. The feud between Cameron Grimes and the Schism played a key role and allowed Malik Blade and Idris Analfi to pick up the biggest win of their young careers. They now have a chance to show what they can do at Halloween Havoc against Pretty Deadly. This match was fun, especially for the wild energy Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen brought despite not factoring in the decision. And all three of these teams showed why they all deserve a spot in this tag team division and that of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown in the long term. Pretty Deadly, they kept an eye on it. They were out there scouting, obviously. Briggs laid out everyone with clotheslines and then let Jensen do some high flying, walking the top rope before a somersault plancha. In the closing stretch, all 6 men got in the ring until Blade and Analfi took the ring. Blade jumped onto the dyad while Analfi jumped onto Briggs and Jensen outside with Michael Bullock's favorite move, the tope con hilo. And I know Bullock was marking when he saw that. So, but anywho, there was some post-match after this in the parking lot. The dyad, they warned Cameron Grimes that he had made a mistake and challenged him to a 3-on-1 handicap match to pay for his sins. But Cameron Grimes told the beautiful Mackenzie Mitchell, a.k.a. Mrs. Vic Joseph, that he would have help from 2 men outside of NXT. So is he going to be, is he on loan? Is he looking for a team on loan from Raw? Is he looking for a team on loan for SmackDown? I don't know. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. But nonetheless, what a match this was. 3 to 3.25 stars. And not much more to say. Michael Bullock, how about it? Malik Blade, Idris Anafi. Biggest win of their careers. And at Halloween Havoc, it could lead to an even bigger win.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, this was the biggest win of their career, and this, to me, a team was so underused. I mean, these two are just so talented, but then again, look who was running NXT at the time when these two came along. It was McMagma. I mean, and of course, we all know his history of holding down guys from NXT. So, yeah, don't need to say anything more on that. But this is a big win for them. But now it could lead to something even bigger, because now they're going to be facing Pretty Deadly for the NXT Tag Team titles. And yes, right now, Pretty Deadly is the favorite, but don't underestimate these two, because they could give Pretty Deadly a run for their money. So, nothing more to say. It's your Sledge.
All right.
3.25 is my rating. I forgot to give it.
All right, no problem. Fair enough. All right, guys. So next up we had was Alba Fire versus JC Jane of Toxic Attraction. And Alba Fire wins the match in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. 3 minutes and 34 seconds, I should say. However, after the match was over, so you think that everything was going to go fine and whatever. And, you know, Alba Fire was pretty cool. Mandy Rose was making her way out. And the next thing you know, a hooded woman just jumped Alba Fire. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Who the hell is that? Who did that? It's Sonya Deville of SmackDown Live. What? Oh, no. We're not. No, this cannot be happening. Anthony Florio, remember Sonya and Mandy and the close relationship they have? And now, is she now a part of Toxic Attraction, or was this a one-off?
Man, it's very likely. You never know. Could it be Fire and Desire reunited after a 2-year hiatus? And you know that their feud 2 years ago, it was very well documented on our family of shows, which led to that SummerSlam match. But nonetheless, as far as this is concerned, it would have been nice to see more time given to a match like this with a storyline. But what we got was still solid. Jane looked like one of the better women in NXT before Alba Fire put her away, which is certainly a credit to how much her opponent gave her. The surprise appearance of Sonya Deville was a welcome wrinkle in the Toxic Attraction story. Her history with Mandy Rose explains her appearance, but it'll be interesting to see how much she helps the group going forward. And she needed a reset like this. And beforehand, Alba Fire warned Toxic Attraction that she was serious about dethroning Mandy Rose no matter what it took. JC Jane responded just before the match, promising a surprise title contender, hence Deville. Alba Fire took out Gigi Dolan with a tope suicida, but Dolan's distraction nearly got Fire rolled up. And Sonya challenged Alba Fire to a match next week and promised to make sure that she did not make it to Halloween Havoc to challenge Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship. So I could probably give this about Theme of the Night so far, 1.5, 1 3/4, maybe 2 for this. So there isn't really much more to say. So Michael Bullock, I mean, Sonya Deville coming to the aid of Toxic Attraction. Could we possibly be getting a Fire and Desire reunion in NXT after 2 years?
I could definitely see that happening. And because, I mean, look, these two are close. And, I mean, not just with the Fire and Desire, but outside of WWE. I mean, they are close friends. And, yeah, I mean, you thought that Toxic Attraction was dangerous already. Now you add Sonya Deville to the mix, it just makes them even more dangerous. And with Sonya Deville in the mix, I mean, Alba Fire's chances of becoming the champion look pretty gloomy. If I'm going to be quite honest here, because I mean, it's one thing you got to deal with Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Now you got Sonya Deville. Chances of her winning the title are pretty slim right now. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, it's another 1.5. So it's your Fletch.
All right, next up, yeah, it's 1.5. It could have been a lot more better, but the shock of seeing Sonya Deville, and now it looks like, yeah, it could be Fire Desire reunited. Now they're going to be in the fold of the. Now, this could be very interesting because could this be a way to try to break up Toxic Attraction, meaning Gigi Dolan and JC Jane go on their own way and Sonya and Mandy stay together and reunite? Because Fire and Desire, relatively speaking, was very successful. They were a pretty good team together in WWE. It was a darn shame that it never materialized because Sonya had so many problems outside of the ring. Not just it was more personal than anything else, and that really was a horrible situation for her because her and Mandy was in a pretty good storyline. Going into WrestleMania, there was the thing with Otis and with Dolph Ziggler. There was a little bit of a love triangle, and it ended up being where Mandy ended up going off with Otis. Sonya worked with Ziggler, and they had a little thing going. And then we finally were going to have the battle between Sonya versus Mandy and that storyline. But it got in the way because stuff outside of the wrestling ring got involved, and Sonya needed the time to get away. There was a period where basically her life was in danger, and without a doubt, they needed it to give her the time and the space and whatever. And she did get away, and she did get the time off. And I think now more than ever, if you reunite Fire and Desire and bring them back as a whole, this could be a game changer, especially for the NXT brand. And that's, I think, another thing too, Anthony, and you alluded to it. She needs the restart. She was good as the authority figure, everything else. And then after that, they let her go because, with her abuse of power, and we all know that, that's why they went with this kind of direction. Now we're going to see how it plays out. Now it's going to be very interesting. So we'll see. Next up we had was Stax Lorenzo going up against Wesley. Wesley wins the match in 3 minutes and 57 seconds. All right. So another fine match. Another too short for our liking. Another 1.5. But the thing was, the body of work, the action was fine. The winner was never in doubt. But the one thing after that was you saw Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams kind of were joined with Wesley about the whole thing. I could see a rivalry between these three men, and it looks like this storyline is not over by a long shot. So we'll see how it plays out. Anthony, it's yours.
What was the time of that fall again?
3 minutes and 37 seconds. 3:37.
This was supposed to be a showcase for Stacks, but he struggled to carry the action. He has talent, but is still smoothing out the edges of his offense as a solo act. Wes Lee needed this win, and he won fairly quickly. He is a talented wrestler, but still missing something to bring him to the next level. He might get there if he wins the North American Championship. Stacks went after the knee of Lee until his rival tripped on a run, sending him up to get planted with a spin-out neckbreaker for a near fall. Afterward, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes attacked Lee, but Oro Mensah made the save and helped Lee run them off. And then backstage, the Don was back, Tony D'Angelo, and he blamed Stacks for his injury and told him he would have a match next week against a mystery opponent. Again, something to keep an eye on. 1 to 1.5 for this. That's been the theme of this night so far. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give it about 1.5 as well. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it was nothing really that much to write home about. I mean, yeah, could this be a rivalry? I mean, especially with what we saw, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on, Fletch.
Next up we had was Thea Hale going one-on-one with Kiana James. Kiana James wins the match in a minute 18 seconds. We're not going to talk about that one. We'll let that one move along. Main event of NXT, Ilya Dragunov versus Grayson Waller. Ilya Dragunov wins the match in 11 minutes and 7 seconds. Anthony Florio, you lead off on the main event of the evening.
Second best fight of the night, 3.5 stars for this effort. Unsurprisingly, Ilya Dragunov pushed Grayson Waller to one of the best performances of his career. It could have been better with more time, but the two men told a story worthy of the main event. It was a good way to continue pushing Waller as a serious competitor and show Dragunov as a dangerous opponent for the NXT champion. Overall, this was good business, not something to write home about, but it certainly helped build Halloween Havoc's main event. And in a pre-taped video, Apollo Crews warned Grayson Waller about their upcoming match. Grayson Waller went for a strike to the eye against Dragunov and then planted him with a springboard elbow drop. And then Waller ran into the ring for his cutter, but jumped into a pair of German suplexes. But second best fight of the night, I thought that Axiom Frazier match was just a smidgen better. But I'll give this about 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 for the effort. Second best fight of the night. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, momentum for Ilya Dragunov as he goes into that big main event at Halloween Havoc, despite Braun Breaker spearing him smack dab in half.
Yeah, I mean, he almost nearly speared him like in half. I mean, oh my goodness. But anywho, I mean, this was about another 3.5 stars. I mean, this was definitely the second best fight of the night and definitely the best matchup for Grayson Waller, especially when you're going up against someone like Ilya Dragunov. So, yeah, Dragunov gets the momentum. So, we'll see how it turns up. So, there's really nothing more to say. So, Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a solid main event. This was at least 3.5 stars. I thought the body of work was excellent. There's really nothing more to add here. So, Anthony, actually, Michael Bullock, you lead off on the overall review.
I mean, it was definitely definitely better than last week's NXT. I'll definitely say it, but I can only give this 6 out of 10. I mean, you had a couple of good matches, but some of the other ones were just too short. So that's just how I feel. So 6 out of 10. It's your Sledge.
Agreed, 6 out of 10. I thought it could have been a lot more better, but I'm gonna give a little bit of a pass here for for NXT because of the fact that some of the matches they weren't like total like blah. They try to tell the story. They try to do some things. I thought they did all right. I'm not going to say it was horrible. I mean, they could have done a lot better in certain elements, in certain areas, but yeah, really nothing more to say. Anthony, quick thought, and then we'll get into AEW.
Yeah, six and a half, 6 to 6.5. One of the better efforts, even though it still wasn't quite, a home run or anything like that, an overwhelming home run. But we had 3 quality matches, which was that main event, which was Axiom and Frazier, the main event, and that tag team contender match. Other than that, all the other matches were the usual shortness, and that's really all there is to say on that. Onward and upward to Halloween Havoc. So 6.5. And now MF, we make history as for the first time in their 3-year history, All Elite Wrestling takes their talents up north.
North of the border to Toronto, Canada, they went. They actually held it down. Let me see. Sorry about that. AEW was held at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto, Ontario. And when we started it off, well, we got ourselves a surprise. Renee Paquette is all elite. That's right. The former Renee Young of WWE. And oh, by the way, married to Jon Moxley, the AEW World Champion. And also mother of Jon Moxley's baby girl, daughter. She's in the building now. She's an interviewer, backstage interviewer. So Tony Schiavone probably will do interviews from time to time, but probably will be more relegated now to being the commentator with Excalibur and Taz. So we started off with that. There was an interview Renee had with Christian Cage. Then it led to the first fight of the night, Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. When it was all said and done, winner of the bout in 14 minutes and 5 seconds was Luchasaurus. Man, what a match. They literally gave us a pay-per-view quality match to jump it off? Are you kidding me? All right. Okay, AEW. We get it. We see it. 4 stars. That's it. I'm dropping the hammer. 4 stars. Amazing match. Body work was excellent. Yes, there was a little bit of an overbook because obviously you knew that Christian Cage was going to do whatever he was going to do to get Luchasaurus over here, and he does. That just adds to the rivalry. That just adds to the fight, and that adds to the point that Jungle Boy will eventually get his ultimate revenge on Christian Cage in due time. So solid opener. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Great opener. Absolutely. I honestly didn't know what to expect going in, but I will say this. I mean, what an incredible way to start the proceedings in Canada tonight. I mean, wow. Just bear with me. That's just, I mean, it was like a typical, big man, little man match. I mean, and it came out really, really good. And, all right. I agree with the rating 4. You could certainly make an argument for 4.25. The match was damn good, easily Luchasaurus's best, and sets the feud up to continue. Jungle Boy is a proven big match competitor, so his excellence here was less of a surprise, but the big man held up his end of the bargain, and the result was a fantastic opener in front of a red-hot, excited crowd. Lot to take away from this. Christian Cage mocking the Toronto Maple Leafs. Of course, we've unfortunately have had to do that as well because of their recent playoff disappointments. That's obviously why Christian mocked them. That gained big heat from the crowd, and I know all the Maple Leaf fans are saying, "Hey, leave Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and the boys alone." Jungle Boy stared down at the Pyro Great during his entrance, a nice callback to the All Out pay-per-view and the spot that made this match possible. Christian Cage attempted to manifest Jim Ross instead of Excalibur, but alas was stuck with the mask-wearing voice of AEW. And Christian said, hey, that should be a DQ following the table spot, rightly pointing out that Perry technically used the weapon, but it was Luchasaurus who set it up. So, fantastic match to start things off. Solid 4, about 4 to 4.25. If you made an argument for Fight of the Night, I would not debate you on it. It certainly was worthy of it. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, wow. What, I didn't know what to expect going into this, but boy, howdy, they over-delivered and then some. Gave us a 4-star match to jump it off. Great big man, little man match.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect out of this, but boy, howdy, this turned out to be much better than what I expected. In this big man versus little man, I mean, it was definitely a 4-star match. I mean, great storytelling here, obviously, with Christian Cage helping Luchasaurus in getting the win. But yeah, Jungle Boy Jack Perry definitely showed some resiliency. I mean, but in the end, it was just too much, especially with the extra man and Christian Cage. But mark my word, when Christian Cage does get healed, he'll get his hands on. I mean, Jungle Boy Jack Perry will get his hands on. And here's a little throwback for what Christian Cage really is. He's a CLB as far as I'm concerned. So just a little throwback there. It's yours, Fletch.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for not actually saying the actual words of what the CLB means. You can fill in the blanks on that one, folks. All right. So next up we had was Wardlow and Samoa Joe. They went up against Nick Comoroto and QT Marshall. It was Wardlow and Samoa Joe winning the match in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not gonna really make you guys talk about that one. Next up we had was Swerve Strickland versus Daddy Ass Billy Gunn, and it was Swerve Strickland winning the match in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Well, there ain't gonna be no sesame, Daddy. Basically, Swerve Strickland basically was a party pooper. Literally 25 years to about a couple of nights ago, D-Generation X was celebrated. They gave a shout out to Billy Gunn and to China, nonchalantly, but there was a little bit of a shout out. And Swerve Strickland, 48 hours after that, basically just took out Daddy Ass and Michael Bullock. Ouch! Down goes Billy Gunn, and you could say Swerve Strickland might have just opened the door for him and Keith Lee to maybe get yet another shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles.
Yeah, you could definitely say that it could lead up to another shot for Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland here. So, I'll give this about maybe 2.5 for the effort here. I mean, a nice effort here by Billy Gunn here. I mean, he, even at the age, I mean, he's definitely still got a little something there. But in the end, Swerve Strickland gets the better of him. But Fletch, I mean, all I can say is after this, we had, you want to talk about party poopers? I mean, you want to talk about Swerve Strickland being a party pooper? There were a couple of others. Tony Nese and that little idiot known as Mark Sterling. Oh, yeah. Gosh, I can't stand that piece of crap.
They're trying anything their way to try to get Swerve Strickland out of AEW. I don't think you want to do that, gentlemen, because if you do, you open the door for him to go back to WWE, and you got Hit Row fully assembled. You don't want that to happen, do you?
And
they didn't go after
He didn't go after Swerve. He went after the Acclaimed.
The Scissor.
And trying to take out the whole Scissor Me thing that they're famous for. And trying to say it's his property, it's his saying now, and that if they use it, he can sue them. Yeah, well, guess what, Mark Sterling?
Wait,
You could sue. How about you
time,
sue this, you little piece of you know what? God, I would
time,
love to get my hands on him.
time,
He is freaking annoying.
time, hold, stop. Did he get it copywritten? Does he have paperwork for a copyright patent for the scissor me? Are you going to answer the question, Michael Bullock?
Well, he has the thing from the United States of America, and you saw it there. It says scissor me, and he laid claims to it. Do you really buy that for 1 second, Fletch? It's
That's
just
what
something that I think Mark Sterling made up.
I was going to ask. If he has a legal tender saying that he has copyright patent that phrase, that's the only way that you can shut it down. But if he does not have that patent, then a claim can lay claim to that and they could still use it. Because that's the biggest thing more than anything else. As long as he doesn't have because everything now is all copywritten stuff. If you can trademark certain things, certain whatever in the United States, that's the thing. Also, you were challenging this in Canada. I mean, that's the first thing you got to realize. He said he had a paperwork from the United States. Do you know where the heck you are? Do you know what building you are in? You're in Canada, Holmes. You're in Toronto. You honestly think the fans, I mean, other than maybe, oh God, if it was Montreal and you mentioned like the Boston Bruins, you would get booed out of the building. So, that's why I was just asking. That's why I was asking, did he have it as a legit paperwork type of a thing? Was it like a legalized paper? That's why I was wondering, because there's certain laws to this, and I was trying to go there, Bullock. That's why I wasn't trying to stir the hornet's nest. I'm just trying to say, wait a minute, was it legal? Was this all legal? Because if it's not, I think the acclaim will be just fine, and they got nothing to worry about. That's all I'm just saying.
And then Mark Sterling's like, "Scissor me, Tony." I'm like, give me a freaking break with that. Oh gosh, I want to beat this guy up. That's how much I can't stand the guy. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours. Go screw yourself, Mark Sterling.
All right. Well, fine match. Let's try to get back to the match itself, and it was fine for what it was worth. It was a good battle. There's really nothing more to add there. But yeah, the outcome was a little bit surprising, But at the end of the day, it was fine. It was good. Really nothing more to add there. So this was about maybe 3. Anthony, go.
Yeah, about 3 for this as well. Give it up for Billy Gunn for hanging in there as long as he did. And but at the same time, the only concern I have is I think somebody seriously needs to rethink about booking Billy Gunn to go as long as he did here. I mean, no matter how over he is by proxy of his relationship with the Acclaimed, I thought it was a little too long for him and only exposed his weaknesses at his age. Is he a physical specimen? Absolutely. But that does not mean he can hang with someone the caliber of Swerve Strickland, who's in his prime, for an extended in-ring outing. The only thing worse, the desire to protect Billy Gunn through a screwy finish rather than just giving Swerve the win. The post-match stuff with Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese revealing the purchase of the Scissor Me trademark was nonsense, but at the same time, it's fun and freshens things up ahead of Strickland and Keith Lee getting their rematch for the tag team titles. Fans in the arena chanted, "Oh, scissor me, daddy," in tune with the White Stripes' Seven Nation Army, proving once and for all that wrestling fans will create a chant out of anything. And then, of course, after the match, Sterling appeared and revealed that he purchased the trademark for scissor me in professional wrestling. So, but I'll be generous. I will give this 2.5 to 3 stars for the effort. So that's really all I can say on it. So, MF, next match.
All right. So next up was the big one, as it was Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson for the Ring of Honor World Championship. The winner of the bout in 14 minutes and 40 seconds, and still the Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho. Solid match, good battle. Okay, I gotta say this more than anything else. So, I kind of felt like the ending was absolutely why. So, Daniel Garcia runs over, hits Danielson with the belt, and that is how Jericho's going to win the title. Okay, wait a minute. So you're telling me that all this time, Daniel Garcia wants to be a professional wrestler, wanted his own legacy, wanted his own run, and the whole 9 yards, and he basically burns Bryan Danielson at the gate and is now fully firmed with sports entertainment and the Jericho Appreciation Society? I mean, unless there's a swerve or some kind of, backdoor thing that Garcia's maybe out to do this on his own at some point down the line, this makes no sense. This absolutely, it destroyed the whole build of the lead up. I thought that he was gonna, if you're gonna win it, okay, fine, whatever. But why would you do that? Unless you're having desires and dreams of being the Ring of Honor World Champion yourself, it makes no sense to bury Bryan Danielson in that way. This really irked me more than anything else. It was a great match. This would have easily would have been fight of the night. This was about 4.25, but because of the screwy finish, I can only give it 3.5 to 3 3/4. The ending and the way that this match went down, and I hope AEW's future booking is better, because right now, this left a sour taste in my mouth, and I'm not happy. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I agree with the rating. The match was as good as you would expect from Bryan Danielson and above average for Chris Jericho at this point. Unfortunately, what they accomplished between the ropes was destined to be secondary to the decision to have Daniel Garcia heel on the challenger and reestablish his bond with Chris Jericho. I'm gonna take it further, MF, on this. Why? Waste weeks building him up as a babyface of the future to considerable success, only to pull the rug out from him and the audience by reverting him right back to the spot he was in 2 damn months ago. There will be some who argue that the plan is for Daniel Garcia to still eventually dethrone Jericho, but if that is the case, there is no reason to milk more weeks out of this story by booking this pointless, unnecessary, you know the rest turn. All right. And you notice Jericho came out to a White Zombie song under his Lionheart persona, robbing fans of singing along to Judas. but they did it anyway. A cappella. Danielson applied the walls of Jericho to some great heat, gleefully playing the role of de facto heel. And then Claudio Castagnoli showed up. Wheeler showed up. Regal. The JAS embraced, apparently back as a unified force. The one argument you can make for this, for Daniel Garcia, is I think he only screwed over Danielson to keep the title on Jericho so he could take it off Jericho. I think that might be what they're building towards here. He didn't want to beat Bryan Danielson for the title. He wants to take it off Jericho. So I think there's still a payoff coming, but for right now, I'm with MF on this one. So I'm not going to go any further into this. 3.5, 3 3/4. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, I mean, why insult our why do they friggin' insult our damn intelligence by building up Daniel Garcia, getting our hopes up, and then all of a sudden you pull this? Is McMagma working in AEW? Looks like it to me.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I mean, and this is why your AEW is in such, and this is why we said WWE is on the rise.
Is Vince Russo working in AEW? Sounds like it to me.
Yeah, and this is why we say AEW is on the rise, and I mean WWE is on the rise, and AEW is on the decline. Not just with the backstage drama that we've been hearing, but with something like what we just saw. I mean, all right, to the booking people, why in the freaking hell would you pull the rug out from underneath us? I mean, unless there's a swerve, this makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. I mean, you were building this, I mean, for Daniel Garcia to be a babyface and as a wrestler, not a sports entertainer. And this is what we get. You guys have some major explaining to do. I mean, this to me is pointless, it's unnecessary, it's unacceptable, irresponsible, borderline reprehensible, and just flat out stupid. I mean, you were building him as a babyface wrestler, only you just put the kibosh on it and have him back to being what he was 2 months ago, a sports entertainer. Daniel Garcia is way better than this. He deserves way better than this. I mean, this is just, it makes zero sense. I mean, like I said, this is why AEW is on the decline. You're seeing an example like this. Tony Khan in the booking department, you better get your act together and make better booking decisions, because you built this for so long only to kill it. No. I can only give it 3.5 stars. I really don't know what else is there to say on this one. This just makes zero sense whatsoever. Fletch, all I gotta say is I give it to you. Tony Khan and his booking department, they got some explaining to do, because I thought Daniel Garcia was going to be this babyface wrestler, but he's back to being a sports entertainer and part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. So all this build was all for naught.
Swerve, bro.
It just really rubbed us the wrong way.
It's like the booking department is saying, "Hey, we're gonna throw egg in your face and make you guys look like a bunch of fools."
Russo
unless they're trying to slow burn this, but the thing is, it didn't need the slow burn. The storyline was for itself. Everything was fine. if you know what, here's the thing: if this would have been Sammy Guevara, this would have been necessary. They would have been like, all right, Sammy screws Bryan Danielson, that's fine. But the thing is that they did it with Daniel Garcia. That's the one person that of all should not have been the one to do it. Now, if it was any other member of the Jericho Appreciation Society, we wouldn't be flipping out like this. It's the mere fact that you build it up Garcia as a pro wrestler, that he was breaking away from the Jericho Appreciation Society, and now you put him back in that mess again. That's where we're flipping out, and that's why we're so ticked off. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna go beyond that. We're just gonna move on, guys. So next up we had was Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker and Jimmy Hayter. The winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 20 seconds was Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida. Fine match. It was all right for what it was worth. Nothing amazing. I could give this about maybe another 2.5, close to 3. And yeah, body of work is over. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Time of the fall again?
8:20.
8:20. 2.5 to 3 here. Good, hard-fought women's wrestling match that highlighted all involved. With that said, it highlighted the one big issue that still exists within that division. Hikaru Shida won and will likely be set up to challenge Tony Storm in the near future. That's fine. The match should be good, but why should anyone care? Besides being a good professional wrestler on a roster full of them, why should fans invest in Shida or Athena or Penelope Ford or Serena Deeb? Leaving Willow Nightingale and Athena out of this match and booking Shida as Storm's partner, despite the latter two's established involvement in the feud, suggests that they are interchangeable with Shida. Until characters are developed and actual, honest-to-goodness stories are told, this will still be a glaring issue with the division. Jamie Hayter tackling Shida in the Storm and Baker to break up Aubrey Edwards' count was a well-timed spot that doesn't always hit, but did here. 2.5 to 3 stars. I agree with the ratings, so not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give it about 2.5 as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. I'm just gonna give it to you, Fletch.
Main event was for the All Atlantic Championship, as it was Orange Cassidy versus Pac, the winner of the bout in 11 minutes and 20 seconds, and new AEW All Atlantic Champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. It was the curse. It was the orange punch, the 1, 2, 3, and then the celebration was on. We gave the people what they want. The best friends hug. And yes, tripod confetti blasted all over in Toronto. It was on. The party was on. History made. Unprecedented crowning. Anthony Florio, it is yours. Cassidy wins the title in 11:20.
Wow. I'll tell you, when I saw that this match was the main event, the first thing that immediately popped into my mind, Cassidy's winning the title. And guess what? He did. He can finally call himself a champion in AEW, the brand new AEW All Atlantic champion. Yeah, and MF was right. You got to give the people what they want. Tripod confetti. Yeah, that's exactly what the people want. Absolutely.
Oh, please.
I had to do it. But no, you're right. I mean, that's the best French stick and all that. And that's really what the people wanted, but just having some fun. We definitely needed it after all the tension over the last little bit because of those questionable decisions. But other than that, Orange Cassidy and Pac had such history and are such strong storytellers that they were able to build on spots from previous bouts and craft a quality main event that you could argue was the best match on this show or one of the best matches on this show. Absolutely. Cassidy has always been a character that did not need a belt, but after going 0-8 in title matches to this point in AEW, he was due. Maybe the best wrestler on television that no one talks about in that role. He has more than earned this opportunity to run with the title. kudos to him and Pac for having competed against each other as much as they have without letting any one match become bogged down in repetition. Their matches are always fresh, always entertaining, and consistently highlight their characters' strengths and personalities. Great stuff to close the show. Pac delivered a tombstone pile driver on the entrance ramp. Cassidy responded by rolling down the long ramp, avoiding a count-out defeat. MF's boy, Danhausen, appeared at ringside, preventing Pac from grabbing the referee's bell and cursed the champion. He paid for it with a right hand. And referee Bryce Remsburg caught Pac attempting to use the bell hammer and stopped him, only for Pac to slide in with another. Failed to use it. Orange with the classic, should I or should I not? Moral dilemma. Do I get revenge from my brothers or do I go for the kill and try to win the title? Do something I've never done before, and that's win a title. I'm glad he did the right thing there. Most would have gone for the revenge, but he's like, hey, I've never won a title here. It's about damn time I won one. And he did it tonight. So the best wrestler to never win a title in AEW can finally lay claim to a title. Whether you love the man or you don't, you damn sure have to respect him. And it's about damn time that Orange Cassidy is running with a title. So well done. Congratulations, Orange Cassidy. Well deserved. And Pac's run as the inaugural All-Atlantic champion ends at 108 days. We'll see how long Orange gets to run with it. So not much more to say here. Another 3.5 to 3 3/4 star match. Another one of the fights of the night. And not much more to say. Michael Bullock, like MF said, history made, unprecedented crowning. Orange Cassidy can finally call himself a champion in AEW. He is the new All-Atlantic champion, second all-time.
All I can say is good for him. I mean, we kept wondering if he would ever hold a title of any kind in AEW, and he finally got it in the All-Atlantic title. And yeah, so I mean, this was a fun match. I'll definitely give it 3.5 stars. I mean, this was a really good match and a really good way to close out this edition of Dynamite. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
All right, and with that said, like you said, I'll say 3 stars as well. Great main event, solid match, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours, my friend. Overall review.
Yeah, I thought this was a good edition of Dynamite here. I'll give it about maybe. Let's see here. I'll give it about maybe 7 to 7.5. I mean, I could have given it a much higher rating, but you know what it all boils to, guys. The questionable booking from that ROH title match, especially with the way with the whole Daniel Garcia thing. If that did not happen, I would have given it a much higher rating, but because of that, I can only give this 7 to 7.5. Still a good show, but because of that questionable booking, this is the rating I got to go with. So it's yours, Fletch.
7 out of 10. Anthony, go.
7, 7.5. Solid show. Questionable decisions. A couple of questionable things, but you sent the crowd home happy the best way you could, and that's all there is to say on that. We're running low on time, so we got to get right into our preview of Thursday Night Football. MF, set it up.
All right, just very quickly, guys. It is going to be the Washington Commanders versus the Chicago Bears from Soldier Field in Chicago. That will be tomorrow. And, of course, you guys already know it's on Amazon Prime Video. You guys already know who are going to be the commentators. On Westwood 1, Iron Eagle and Tony Baselli. Anthony will hit you with the rest of it. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to this game. I'm not. It's just one team is 1-4, the other team is 2-3. Both teams have been struggling. There hasn't been anything amazing. on either side of the ball. So I hate to say this, but we might have another suck fest like we did with Indy and with the Indianapolis and Denver game. So I mean, it might not be anything amazing. So nothing more to say. I'm gonna go with Chicago to win it. Anthony, go.
All right. Of course, we know Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung on the call, as always. For fans in Washington, D.C. and Chicago, if you choose to, if you dare we say, if you want to watch it on your local affiliates, for Washington, D.C., you can watch it on WTTG Fox 5, WTTG Fox 5 in D.C., and in Chicago, you can watch it on WFLD Fox 32 in Chicago. WFLD Fox 32 Chicago. So there's that. The Commanders are actually favored. Washington is favored by 1 point, and Washington leads the all-time series 22-21 with a tie. Very first meeting, 1932. That was the tie, by the way. Their last meeting was 2019 in Chicago, and or I should say in Washington, and Chicago won 31-15 to snap a 7-game losing streak to the then Washington Redskins. The last meeting in Chicago, 2016, Washington blew the doors off Chicago, 41-21. The Bears have not beaten the Commanders or Washington in general at home. You got to go back to 2003. 2003, 27-24. That's the last time Chicago won at home against Washington. That was back when they were the Redskins. So with all that, it could go either way. Honestly, it really could. Commanders have had a couple of hard luck losses here and there, but at the end of the day, I'm with MF on this one, but especially with the game being in Chicago. I think Chicago's probably going to take this one. And you got to feel for Al and Herbie because they're going to have to sell another ugly game on Amazon Prime. Because these two teams, Washington and Chicago, Washington is 26th and Chicago is 27th, respectively, in scoring offense. Washington scoring 16 points a game, Chicago 15.2. Can the Commanders get a running game to support Carson Wentz? Justin Fields coming off his best game of the season, albeit in a loss to Minnesota. With two bad offenses, go with the team with the better turnover differential. Chicago's even. Washington is -8. I'm going with Chicago to win. Ugly game. I'm going to say 21-19. Chicago over Washington. Michael Bullock taking home.
Yeah, I got the Chicago Bears winning this one as well. So I'm not going to waste any more time on this. Let's wrap it up.
All right, guys, and we are indeed out of here. So tomorrow night is College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com, as we will be previewing a big college football weekend with quite a few main event fights, guys. We got one at 12 o'clock between Michigan and Penn State at 3:30.
Yep, you're right. But there's 6. Remember, there's 6 games with ranked versus ranked teams.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the big ones more than anything else, which what I was gonna say was Ohio State or Penn State and Michigan, Alabama and Tennessee is a big one. Of course, TCU and Oklahoma State. And then in the Pac-12, we got USC and Utah going at it. I mean, you got one at 12, one at 3:30, and then a prime time at 8. We got some meat, guys. Meat on that bone that you guys are gonna be going through. Friday is Cerebral Smack Talk. Saturday is NFL Saturday, and then we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Floyo on Monday. So for all of us here, for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 10:30. Bye-bye.